okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Sorry, my bag was in here.
It's
Is it okay if
been
I come in?
maybe there. I'm just currently, I'm streaming, but I'm just kind of staring into the camera at the moment, talking to myself.
Sorry to interrupt
That's fine.
your stream.
Well, all right. So let's see how this works. Hi, everybody. I'm just starting things up. All right. That is not working. Oops. Hi. Sorry. Camera. Where's that HD camera? Okay. This will be annoying. I am not able to get my camera, my other thing to work. So we are just biding our time here, waiting for the premiere of Tumbler Ridge, premiere of British Columbia to arrive here. I've got a completely new setup, completely new computer, so this is all kind of new. Again, I'm going to turn this down because that light is right behind my head. Well, whatever, because this is not going to be mostly about me. So just sort of letting you know what's happening here. I am trying to leave space for people to share stories, share emotions, share what's happening. So I'm just have invited. Hello.
Have the premiere here.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Hi.
Oh, hey,
Hi.
Dave.
Pleased to meet you. There's a mic right there for you,
Sure.
and we are sort of
Where
already
you want me here? Or here?
right there. That's great.
Right. Is it okay if one of our photographers comes in and takes a couple pictures?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not? All right. So if you want to do just kind
Do
of
you want me to
talk,
clip
you
it
can
on,
you
or-
can clip that on, or you
Sure,
can
yeah.
kind of talk about it. There's kind of a button that you push that you sort of slip it on. All right. Now let me check. You are taller than my earlier camera test. So I don't know. Have you been sort of told what's kind of happening here? Probably not.
An interview with you as the
Yes,
local guy.
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this isn't. I was just explaining to the live stream. This is not really an interview.
Okay.
This is. I'm trying to give space for people to tell stories, to share emotions, to just sort of talk to what's happened, and how it's impacted them, how it's just their thoughts on it. So this isn't really an interview. I will ask questions, but this is mostly a space for you to sort of tell me, like, where were you when you heard what happened,
Okay.
and stuff like that, and just
Yeah.
your reaction. So
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by when I heard what happened, because I mean, I'm just coming out of a meeting with Mr. Dealey, who's a popular local teacher here,
Yep.
and his son and some students. This is the first time I've really heard about what happened
Yep.
in terms of inside the school, but as premier, I do get notifications when there's school lockdown. Sometimes courthouses are locked down. I get notice, and that was the notice that I received around this particular tragedy, the most of the time, things are resolved, and this is just obviously a very different situation.
yeah. For me, one of the things, there's, I don't want to say that there's a sense of gladness, but there's a there, but by the grace of God go I, because I was working at the local newspaper before the owner died, and my wife was like, you don't want to get back into the news business, because it's not exactly a growing business. So I was looking for things to do, and one of the things that I did was I wound up being a substitute teacher there. And I spent 3 months working with mostly with the grade 7s and
Wow.
the grade 8s, which is this age group. Fortunately, I proved to be a terrible teacher, and they didn't literally fire me, but they just sort of said, "Thanks for your time. We've got somebody else who can fill in now."
Okay.
Right.
Right.
But when I was there,
But you're like, I was there.
yeah, and when I was there, there were incidents where, you know, they're the usual stuff that happens when you've got a class full of teenagers, right? It's like, oh, somebody didn't want to do a test and called in a bomb threat, or somebody walked in with a gun, and oh no, it turned out that it was a race car that he'd right. It was just like stupid things. But you know, I remember. So when I pulled up here, one of my friends. Sorry, I'm telling more stories to
No,
you
I'm
than
listening.
than you're to me, because it's supposed to be about you telling me your stories. But I pulled up, and I had a friend who was sitting at the road across from the school as well, and I went up and asked him, you know, did he know what was happening? He's like, no, but I've talked to my son, and he's locked in the equipment room in the gym. And I was like, you know, I've been there, I've done that. There was a, you know, I wouldn't say it was a big threat, but you know, there was a one of those lockdown notices that came through, and you know, me and my class went into the equipment room, and I knew it had happened. So as this is happening, I'm like outside going, well, it says active shooter, but this is Tumbler Ridge.
Right.
This, you know, what happens is,
here.
yeah, it can't happen here.
Yeah.
So there was that sense of you know, as it developed, you're like, oh, the RCMP's there. That's a step up than anything I've ever seen. This is happening, and you started to suspect that something was there, but it wasn't until that evening that when the press release came out that says that there were, you know, this number of people killed, that it just actually finally hit. So yeah, it was a pretty hard on a person who's like been in that situation. So now I'm assuming that there has not been a situation like this in the province before.
Correct.
Right, and certainly not under your watch. How is that affecting you? Like, tell me a little bit about how you're dealing with this.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this is probably the worst tragedy involving a shooting at a K-12 school in the country.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but in this job, you know, I meet with parents who've lost kids in different ways, and different tragedies that happen in the province. The scale of this one, you know, the scale of the loss of children, that it happened at a place where kids are supposed to be safe.
Yeah.
And the size of the town, you know, it's a tiny community, 2,500 people, tiny school.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
And it hits differently here. You know, we have had large-scale tragedies in the province in the time I've been premier, but they've been, you know, in big cities or different scenarios. I've never been exposed to this level of trauma. And at the same time, you know, I'm really inspired by the people here. It's incredible, the strength of Tumbler Ridge. I mean, this is a community, and someone described Tumbler Ridge, they're like, we're not a through town. You come here for a reason, and that as a result, the people here are independent and they rely on each other, and that is also, I think, the strength that will get this community through this moment.
Okay. When you were talking there, it's and you forget that you know, there's that old saying that crap flows downhill, but it feels like problems roll uphill. Like, I know, for me, like when I have my reporter hat on, I'm pretty good. I'm still breaking down every once in a while. But you know, I put my reporter hat on. but when you take that off, it's really hard. So for you, like you're not local to the community, but these are your people too. So tell me how you're processing. Like, are you what are you doing to sort of find moments of joy through this, moments of stepping back from the pain?
Yeah, there's sort of three elements to this for me. One is, two of them are premier related. One is just the logistics, making sure that ministers are here. There's counseling through the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education is working with the trustees around what's school going to look like going forward. Where are people going to go? Because they're obviously not going back to that building. What are the logistical requirements of the city? And the second part of being premier is, look, not everyone here voted for me or in the province, but I'm the premier. I represent the province. Represent the voice of the province. Got to be here so that people know the province is with them. It's a symbolic role. The third, and you can't leave it behind, and I'm sure you feel that when you're doing your reporting, is you're a human being. I'm a human being. I've got my own kids. They go to school, send them off, and it's impossible to separate that when I'm hearing these parents talk about, we didn't know where our kid was for like 3 hours, and they're looking at me, they're like, I'm like, I know how that would feel. Like, I know how it feels when you're in the mall or whatever, and you lose your kid for like 30 seconds, like, where? And you get that feeling like, oh my God, where are they? And to have that for 3 hours, or to have that now forever for some families, like there's no way to separate sort of the personal, feelings that I have about that as these parents and these kids are describing to me what they've been through. So it's all of those pieces at the same time, and there are, like, we can sit in this. I was just sitting with kids who thought they were going to die, and a teacher who thought he was the last line of defense for his kids, and you can still have a joke around the table, and they can still share, share a smile, and also then be crying, and then be like, it's all of the emotions right now, and it's just how people are going to have to find their way through, and humor will be part of it, and sadness will be part of it, and sharing.
Yeah. So, for me here in Tumbler Ridge, I'm going to change my source back to here so people can actually see me. For me here in Tumbler Ridge, I'm really trying to focus on the people, but I know that, before this was even almost before it was announced, it was like in that first hour or two, it was starting to be kicked around like a political football, not so much by people in town or in the province or in Canada, but it became, it's like, oh, we think the shooter is trans, and that played out. But there was a photo that was shared. Here's the shooter. It wasn't. It's this kid out of Ontario, whose face is now has been plastered around all over, and I know most trans teens, their biggest worry is to be misgendered, but to be misidentified as a murder, that's hard. But so this is where I'm going with it. Like, has that I was just watching, Mark Carney and Per Polyev sharing a hug out there, and you're sort of, this is meaningful, but are you finding, like, are you starting to hear those rumblings about, oh, well, we need to do this or do that, we need to stop this, we need to ban firearms, we need to start conversion therapy? Like, I don't know what, like, I'm hearing it all, because there's just this, for you where you're sitting, what are you hearing? What sort of things are coming at you now, or is it there's a sense of unity between the parties right now that we'll wait a week or a month before we start to get too political about this.
Yeah, we had a moment in Victoria. I was in Victoria between being here Wednesday, Thursday, and today for the throne speech, when all of the MLAs from all of the parties were out in front of the legislature together.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often, to say the least. But it is bringing people together to focus on what's important, which is supporting the families and the community. There's a parallel universe in social media where this is a sort of one of those ink blot tests, where you see whatever you want to see in terms of your political affiliations online in this tragedy. And I'm just really grateful that in reality, like outside of that parallel universe in social media, it's all about the families. It's all about what the community needs. It's all like that is the total focus here. People are going to use this for their agendas one direction or another. But here on the ground, and I can assure people who are watching and listening that everybody is focused on doing right by the families and the community here. Yeah. And that's just not part of the math.
Yeah. All right. I've kind of hit the end of my time here with you, so I'd like to thank you for taking the time to speak with me and to speak to the people of Tumbler Ridge, because this is for them. So.
Well, right on. Well, thanks for doing this work. I imagine it's hard to do right now.
Yeah. Like I say, there's those connections with, I was a teacher, I knew some of the kids, but as a community reporter, that first word, community, is what's most important.
Yeah, beautiful.
So,
nice.
anyways, thank you.
Much.
Oh, get my mic back before you wander off with it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Grab mine. Do you still need the cable?
This is your cable. So just give me a second. I'm going to change my source.
If you want to just leave it here.
Oh, no. I'm just going to change my source so it doesn't just suddenly go black. And I will give you the cable back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time as well, and thank you for your work. That was a wonderful sit down.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm trying not to make it all about the politics, but there's a certain level of it too.
Yeah.
So
We'll see you tonight.
all right, see you. Okay, that was the Premier of the province, David Eby, who's in town for a vigil tonight. He was in town a couple nights ago to make an announcement around funding. But tonight, he's joining the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition. I saw a long list of, or there was all of the parties are going to be there. I didn't see leaders from all the parties at the wreath ceremony, but to be fair, there are certain people, like I couldn't pick some of the people out from, because this is local media, guys. I care about the town. When you get into the who's currently leader of the federal NDP. Okay, that was a trick question. I'm going to go back. I know that people were mentioning things. Sorry, I'm just going to do a bit of a wipe here. Let's see. So I got a note asking me to turn the volume up. I am sorry. I just got these new mics and they're kind of quiet, and everything is currently cranked to 11. But like the mode is up as high as it goes. So I have to check. Sorry that was not as loud as it could have been, but the audio quality was remarkable. Let's see if there's anything. Nope, I don't see any comments. So thank you. The goal is to be live streaming the event tonight. That will be in just under 2 hours. Um, I'm going to let my camera charge up a little bit, or my phone, because I'm going to be live streaming again. I do have batteries, as I mentioned before, but I am going to, I would rather get as much juice into it as I can before I start. Let's see. The big news was the RCMP announced that they are currently working on the collecting evidence. Basically, we're still here. We're still working on this. We're still everything is working on it. But there was nothing new coming out of that as of today. They're still investigating. There's autopsies that are happening. So that was the big thing. Hey Brandon, I miss you. That's about it. Yeah, and you too, Dorothy. Uh, I'm not sure about Rob. I don't know that I know Rob. The name sounds familiar, but um, anyways. So I'm going to turn everything off now, unless there's a chance that more people will be showing up, but it's not guaranteed. So if I do get a notice that people will be showing up, I will try and give you guys as much heads up. If not, I'll see you in about 2 hours. All right. All right. Finish.